Hey there, here we go into some really cool stuff actually. We're going to find vertical and horizontal tangents. So we're going to just start out with the concept actually in this one. I think it makes a lot of sense. So if we've got a vertical tangent line, that's where dx dt or x prime is equal to 0 and y prime or dy dt is not equal to 0. So that would be a vertical tangent line. Why is that? Well, we'll take a look at that. Well, this means that we're moving not in the x direction, right? If x prime of t is equal to 0, we're not moving left and right. And if dy dt is not 0, we're either moving up or down, which means we're only moving up or down. And that gives you a vertical tangent line. So really do that motion. That's how you're going to memorize this, is understanding it. So when dy dt equals 0, or y prime of t is 0, and dx dt does not equal 0, that's where we have a horizontal tangent line, horizontal tan line. Okay, what's the deal there? Well, the horizontal tangent line happens for the opposite reason what we just explained. Here, we're not moving up or down. We're fixed right here, but we are either moving left or right. So if we're moving only left or right and not up or down, then we've got a horizontal motion only. There you go. Now note that if dy dt is equal to dx dt, they're both 0. That means that dy dx has what's known as an indeterminate slope. And in terms of motion, we'd be still because we wouldn't be moving left, right, or up or down. That's why I have that dy dt is not equal to 0. That means we're moving up and down, but not left and right. And then for a horizontal tangent line, we are moving not up and down, but only left and right. Okay, there you go. That's it. So we're going to use that concept now to solve two very straightforward problems with that same graph that we saw in video 1. Okay, so now, by the way, this curve continues on like this, but I only graphed it from, I think, t equals -2 to t equals 4, just to get a little bit of the loop going there. Find the value or values of t at which the above curve, that's this, has a horizontal tangent line. What is the equation of each line? So what I do is I set up my basic concept. Horizontal tangent line means x prime is moving, but y prime is not. So this would be y prime of t is equal to 0. And x prime of t does not equal 0. So I start out with my basic concept. So y prime of t, well, we found that a bunch of times. We know that y prime of t is equal to, we'll do it out again, 3 times 1/3 is 1. T squared minus 1 is equal to 0. So that's where we've got a horizontal tangent line, no up or down movement. So we solve this out, we'll get t squared is equal to 1. That would be, don't forget, there's a plus or a negative, so t equals -1 or 1. Now we got to check these. So I'm going to find x prime of t. So x prime of t is equal to 2 times 2 is 4, t, and the -1 goes to 0. So I'm going to check x prime of -1 equals -4, which does not equal 0. That's important. And x prime of 1 is equal to 4, which does not equal to 0. Therefore, we've got horizontal tangent lines where y prime is 0, that's at -1 and 1, and x prime is not 0. Bingo, we got it. Concept led us to our answer. All right, last but certainly not least, this says find the value or values of t at which the above curve has a vertical tangent line. Nice, okay. So what's the equation of each of those lines? Okay, so we'll go back to that. We'll answer that in A as well. I just want to go with the times first. So let's go with the time here. Well, this is going to be where x prime of t does not equal to 0. Sorry, does equal 0. And y prime of t does not equal to 0. Right, that's where we're moving up and down, but not left and right. Thus, x prime equals 0. Well, x prime we have is 4t. This is really easy to find. 4t is equal to 0. That's where t is equal to 0. Very nice. So we're going to check that with y prime. Well, y prime we have is t squared minus 1. Y prime of 0 is equal to, we plug that in, -1, which does not equal to 0. So that means at t equals 0, we're actually moving down, but we're not moving left or right. So we got a vertical tangent line there. Let's take a look at the curve and see why this makes sense. At t equals 0, we're actually here. And we're moving down. We're wrapping around and then moving down at that instant. There's your vertical tangent line. At t equals -1, we are here, roughly there. And there's your horizontal tangent line. And then we come back around, and here we're moving to the right, which makes sense because x prime of -1's moving left, or horizontal. Isn't that cool? And then x prime of 1, here we are, we're moving to the right, but not moving up or down. So there's your two horizontal tangent lines and your vertical tangent line. Now, as far as what the equations are, Well, if we've got a horizontal tangent line, we just need to know what y of -1 is. That would be the y value at this point. That would give you y equals the equation of that line. So y of -1, that's -1/3 minus 1 is -4/3. So that's the equation y equals -4/3. And y of 1, well, that would be 1/3 minus 1, or -2/3. So that would be the equation. Let's see what we get there. Ooh, you know what? I calculated that incorrectly there. I'm so sorry. I'm looking at this. This would be 2/3, not -4/3. I'm looking at that thinking, no way. Y of -1 is 2/3, which is y equals 2/3 right there. And then -2/3 when you plug in 1, so it'd be y equals -2/3, which makes sense because you're looping back around. That's down here. So here for the vertical tangent line, that'd be x of 0. Well, that'd be 0 minus 1, which is -1. So that'd be x equals -1. So that would be the equation of the vertical tangent line, which, sure enough, there it is. So to find the equations of the tangent lines, you actually got to plug in the t values, and then you got your x and y values. That's it. So the key ideas here again, just to revisit, x prime equal to 0 means you're not moving left or right. Y prime not equal to 0, we're only moving up and down. That's for this. Here, if we have x prime not equal to 0, but y prime equal to 0, you got a nice horizontal tangent line. Beautiful. All right, and it shows up on the graph. I love it. You love it. I'll see you in the next video. It's going to be fun again. Until then, peace.